welcome to another Making Diaries episode, and I'm starting this week's video with an update on my cable jumper that I've been working on. And here is how it currently looks. I don't know if you can see it fully. Yeah. So this is it. It has these sleeves attached. Both sleeves are done. Have ribboning at the bottom. And I have been working my way to finish the body of this beautiful jumper. As I was saying, I don't have that much yarn and I was really afraid that I will not be able to finish it with the yarn that I have. And I have got that color that is just a little bit different than the one that I have been using. So it's not the color difference, it's more of a like type of color. So the one that I have been using originally has some color variation to the yarn, and the one that I got when I understood that I don't have enough of that one was just, you know, your plain normal like pink color. And what I have been doing, so because I am using 6 strands at the same time to make sure I don't get this, you know, visible line where I kind of change the yarn. So what I have been doing, I have kept 5 strands of the original yarn and I have added I'm actually not sure, I think this is the one that is off. So I have added 1 strand of a different colored yarn. I have knitted for around like 5 centimeters, and then I went ahead and added a second yarn. So I had 4 strands of original yarn and 2 strands of the new one. And this has basically let me finish my sleeves and be sure that I have enough for the body. And I have actually tried to see where I have connected the other strands and I just cannot see that. So maybe if you were to compare the sleeve like this, you could see the slightest variation in the color, but I don't think you can. So everything turned out okay, and here I did. So you can see a little bit of a difference in the fabric here, but that is because I have steam blocked this yoke part for a few times already, and this part is a newly knit fabric piece. So you can see a slight color variation here, but it looks just a little bit darker because I have been knitting it fresh and I did not steam block it yet. So I'm quite happy, and I am sure now that I have enough of this yarn to finish this beautiful jumper. So I am very excited to continue working on this. I cannot say I'm like tired of all of these cables, but you know what? I'm very excited to start something and stocking it, to be fair. So this is it. I do have a few decreases on my sleeves just to make sure they fit nicely, and this will relax. So this one is steam blocked, this sleeve is not, and they're like kind of scrunched up because this is cable pattern. So this will relax and be nice and wide and flowy. So really excited to be kind of on a finish line, very close to the finish line. So I'm just going to continue knitting in the round for my body, then do same 2x2 rib at the bottom of it and be done. And I have some exciting news to share with you. This is related to this jumper, and I have made an experiment that I have heard from someone and it worked perfectly. So the thing with cone yarn is that it is not like your normal knitting, hand knitting yarn. When you get it in the cone, like this, it comes covered in a spinning oil. And why they do that is because this yarn is primarily used to knit on a knitting machine, and there you just don't want all of that fluff flying around everywhere. So basically it is like a glue to hold all of those fine strands together. And the idea is that you somehow have to get rid of that spinning oil that you have on the yarn. And I know that some people do wash their yarn before they knit from it, and I don't. I like that the yarn is like more stable almost. So I did knit my jumper, and I did all of my gauge swatches and the cable swatch in the oiled yarn. And then I just, for example, for this swatch, I did wash it like normally. I know that the best way to get rid of the spinning oil is by using some gentle baby shampoo or a gentle cleanser. So anything that you would use on your skin or your hair basically. So I did take my normal shampoo that I use. I have hand washed it, blocked it, and when it was dry it was looking all right, and I said, well, you know, that looks absolutely beautiful. It has kind of bloomed a little bit, and I was happy with what I was getting. And then I was watching someone's video, and they were saying that to get rid of all of the oil, you might want to throw your garment in the washing machine. And my yarn, for example, is not superwash, so you cannot actually wash it, or you will just felt it. But I thought, you know what, maybe this swatch, maybe this yarn has more potential to it than I have discovered. And I thought that I could sacrifice this cable swatch and wash it in the actual washing machine for the yarn to bloom completely and for all of the oils to get kind of washed out. So this is what I did. I basically thrown this one in the washing machine with the same shampoo that I've used before, and I've set my machine to a quick cycle. Our washing machine is really basic. I don't have like a wool program on it, and I cannot control how many spins per minute or per second or whatever it is. So I did have a quick cycle on my machine, and this is what I used. And let me tell you, I get out and absolutely, like, this is a different swatch that I have put in it. So it is so much fluffier and so much nicer to the touch than the one that I had before. And I feel like the actual fabric is like more flowy in a way. It did not felt. It just, I think I managed to get rid of all of that oil and get all of that cashmere to kind of fluff up. So now it feels even nicer. It is even more gentle to the skin. Like, it was not ever scratchy, but now it is like holding cashmere, I think I might say. So yeah, I think what I'm gonna do when I'm finished with my jumper, I'm just gonna wash it once by hand as I did with this swatch, and then I'm gonna throw it in the wash. And I hope to get the same effect that I got here, but let me tell you, I'm really nervous to do that. Like, I did felt my knitted garments before. Those were not made in cone yarns, but anyways, like, what I got from the washing machine is a complete different fabric, and I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna experiment with washing cone yarns in the washing machine from now on, and you can easily do this with just your gauge swatch and see if that works for you or not. So this is the update about my cable jumper, but I do have some more news and something to talk to you about. So the thing is that I've just found out that me and my husband were going on a trip that might last up to a month. We'll be traveling by car, so I basically need projects to work on while I'm away. And I did not plan for this. Like, I have no idea what yarns to take with me, and I think I'm gonna get this jumper finished in a few days. So I really need to think about what projects I want to work on while I'm away. And the good thing is that I can just throw everything in the car and, you know, have all of my cones on me when I need them. So I think I'm just gonna go through what I have, and what I have showed you in the yarn haul video. And I'm gonna choose what I'm gonna take with me and what will become my next projects. And you know, because I will be away, I will not be taking my sewing machine with me, so I believe this video and a few of the next one will be exclusively knitting videos. So I went through all of the yarn that I have in stash, and my stash is not that big currently, and I have chosen a few cones that I really want to take with me. And I think I have quite a selection here that will let me experiment with new yarn and work with the yarn that I already know. So this is a Kariaji yarn, and it is basically the same as the one that I have used to knit my cable jumper. And because I already know how the garments look, and because I already tried it and I like it, I think I'm just gonna use it to work on that simple wide rib jumper that I have talked about. I really like this dark taupe color for that. So a simple stockinette jumper. I really want to experiment further with the neckline and the raglan shaping that I have kind of discovered to be the best one with the cable jumper that I'm working on. So I'm thinking I'm gonna do saddle shoulder, just because that is like a raglan type shoulder, and I think I want to film a few mini master classes, a few tutorials on how I do that. So this is the plan for this yarn. This one comes with me 100%. Another sweater quantity yarn that I want to take with me is this Telenio 1900 yarn that is 100% merino yarn, but because of the way they make it, it feels like cashmere, and I really want to experiment knitting from it. Want to, you know, see how the actual fabric looks. And this color, like, this is fall. Like, I cannot believe I did not see that before. Like, this is cinnamon, right? I think it will be perfect for autumn and for, you know, cozy walks around the fall forest or whatever. So yeah, the color fits beautifully the season that we're in, but you know, unfortunately we don't get autumn where I live, but this will be my inspiration. So the perfect fall jumper, this is what I'm going to be using it for. And the other two cones that I have here are the ones that I'm going to use for knitting accessories, and I really want to focus on gloves. I love knitting gloves. That's a like really nice fast way to finish something, and I loved wearing knitted gloves when I lived in a climate where I could do that. Unfortunately now for me that is not the case, but still I really love knitting gloves. So this is what I'm gonna use to do that. This is Millifilly yarn called Clue. I have it in this beautiful forest, as I call it, forest green color, and I heard that it transforms massively when you wash it. So I'm really excited to see that transformation and to try it for knitting a pair of gloves. And this one, as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this is a yarn that I got as backup for my cable jumper, but it turned out to be a bit of a different shade, so I think I'm just gonna experiment with it and see if I can make a pair of beautiful gloves out of it. I'm actually, you know, open to experiments. Maybe I will try and knit a hat out of this yarn while I'm away. So I don't have any particular plans, but I think this will be the selection of yarns that I will have while I'm away. This No, it does not feel like much, but I think I will keep my hands busy with this cones. I was thinking about that unidentified cone that I got on a clearance sale, but you know what? I really wanna knit on this beautiful fall color while everybody is on that like fall hype. And actually right now when I have these two together, like look how nicely these two look together. I think this is a perfect combination. I'm actually, you know what, I'm not opposed to trying a small color work on my gloves or something. I've actually never done color work before, but maybe it's time to experiment. Yeah, I never saw this combination before, so maybe I will try and experiment with that. So yeah, beautiful fall colors here, and nice basic sweater and plants, and definitely a pair of luxurious knitted gloves. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go pack all of my knitting needles and everything that I might use during the trip. And I think the next time when you see me, I will have this cable jumper finished. One thing is that I will probably only hand wash it while I'm away, because every washing machine is different and I don't want to just felt it by accident. So I'm just gonna wash it by hand, and then when I come back home, this is when I'm gonna throw it in the washing machine and enjoy the actual fabric transformation. So really excited to see this jumper coming to life and this yarn blooming and transforming into this absolutely beautiful fabric. So that's the plan. I'm gonna go pack these, pack my knitting needles, pack my process. Unfortunately, I don't have any project bags to use to put my cable jumper in, but you know what, this is something I'm gonna be working on when I'm back, and I think I will be missing my sewing machine. Welcome back. I feel like it's been forever since I have not filmed a video, but I think it's only been like a week or something. And I have a lot of updates to share with you, and I'm in a bit of a different location today and probably for the next few videos. So as I mentioned before, I am traveling this month, so I have a lot of on-the-go projects happening right now, and I actually have a finished object that I wanted to show you in this video. And just a disclaimer, this is going to be the most pink video you see from me probably, because I have my cable pink jumper ready. I have been working on some gloves that are also pink and made from the same yarn as my jumper. So let's jump right in. And I really want to start with a piece that I'm most proud of, and it is of course my finished jumper. So there we have it. Look at it. I'm so proud of it. Look at how drapey it is, how nice the fabric is. So this jumper, if you have not been following my videos, it is made out of cone yarn, and this was my first experiment with using cone yarn for hand knitting. This is Cariaggi Serious. It is a very fine yarn. So I held 6 strands together and used 3.5mm needles for the main body, and I absolutely love the result. Maybe you know this is the second iteration of this jumper. First I tried a different construction and then I switched to this raglan one, and I'm absolutely loving it. I have hand washed it with just some gentle baby shampoo, and I do plan on throwing it into my washing machine when I'm back home just to see the fabric bloom even more. And you know what, I can say that even right now it looks really nice and like uniform, but after I throw it in the washing machine for a quick cycle, I expect the yarn to bloom even more and to fill all of these like small gaps that I have right now. And you know what, this like round neckline that I came up with, I absolutely love it. It does not stretch when I wear it. So this has turned out to be the perfect jumper, and let me tell you that I had just enough yarn to finish it. So this final piece weighs 456 grams, so it is not very heavy, but I have used up like pretty much all of the yarn that I had. I did have some leftovers, like maybe 30 grams or so, and I have used that to test knitting gloves with it, and I'm gonna share this with you a bit later. But when it comes to this jumper, I'm really loving this shape of the raglan line. As you can see, it's not just your normal straight raglan line. It goes a little bit like a saddle shoulder and then goes down and forms this S kind of shape. And when I wear it, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. It is just a little bit oversized. I would not say it's that oversized, but I absolutely love it. As you can see, it features a bit of a difference between the back and the front of the jumper, so that the ribbing does not kind of choke you, as you know sometimes happens when you wear raglan construction. So yeah, absolutely loved it. I used 3.5 millimeter needles for the main body, 2.5 for the ribbing, just because I like the ribbing like more sturdy. I'm not gonna make any like final photos and take any final videos before I wash this jumper in the washing machine, but I think I'm gonna just, you know, film myself here inside wearing it just to show you how it looks on me. But yeah, as I said, I'm absolutely happy with this jumper. Maybe I would have made the collar just a bit smaller, but I'm not sure about that. I like it this way, and yeah, I think it looks absolutely gorgeous. Look at this. To be fair, like after knitting all these cables for a while, I got a bit tired of those, so I'm really excited to work on my next sweater project that I'm going to be plain stocking it. Next thing I wanted to talk to you about are the gloves that I've been working on. So for a few years now, I have been experimenting with creating different gloves, and I really like using fine fabric and really small needles to do them, because I think this is how they look the best. So what I did have some leftovers from the jumper that I've just showed you, and it has turned into a beautiful glove. I was very excited to try this cone yarn in an accessory. So what I did, I started with a few different gauge swatches, and initially I thought that I would reduce the number of strands that I was holding together, because initially, so for my jumper, I held 6 strands together, and I thought maybe for the gloves I will hold like 4 strands and use really small needles. But after experimenting with that, I actually thought that the same number of threads that I used for my jumper on smaller needles, so this is 2.25 millimeter needles, this is how I like the fabric best, and it's really nice and springy, and this is what you want for your gloves and actually any small accessories, whether socks or gloves. So I continued using 6 strands, and what I wanted is a really plain classic glove that does not have any ribbing. So this is double knitting here to form the cuff, and I really liked working with this yarn on smaller needles. And I could say, let me wear this, so I can say that the kind of recipe that I have for knitting gloves is pretty much perfect, but there is still one thing that I would like to improve upon. So this is how it sits on my hand. As you can see, it does not have any like big holes here or here. And this glove, I did not steam it, I did not block it, I did not wash it. So this has just come off my needles last evening. So this is how it looks just like after you knit it. So I believe after I wash it, all of the small gaps will be filled with all of that fluff, so the yarn will bloom and everything will look beautifully. I like how the fingertips look. The only thing though that I'm not sure about, and I did not like pay that close attention to this before, but now I think that I could remove like this small imperfection. As you can see, so when I lift the stitches for my thumb, I got this small holes right in between my fingers, and I am not 100% happy with that. And what happens, because the palm is a bit wider here, as you can see, the stitches kind of stretch, so there is not enough fabric right here to accommodate for this wider part of the palm. So I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna experiment with how I lift stitches for the thumb, and I hope to remove even this like small holes that I get in the fabric. And this is actually the first time when I'm knitting a like folded cuff, and I thought what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cast on all of my stitches, then establish double knitting from the get-go. And because, so this is 2.25 millimeter needles, and for the cuff I decided to use 2 millimeter needles, so that's size 0 US. And you know, because I use 6 strands of yarn at the same time, and because the needles are really small, I kind of struggled to make this cuff nice and neat. And I cannot say it's that neat. Like if I show it to you, you can see that it's not like the most even. So I thought what I'm gonna do, I still have just a very little bit of this pink yarn left, and I'm just gonna experiment with the cuff and the thumb and just see if I can fix all of these problems that I have. And I have actually started working on like a second glove. I think I'm gonna, so this is for my left hand, and maybe I will just, you know, do another one for the left just as a test base. And what I did here, so to create the cuff, as you can see, it is nice and neat. I like it way more than this one on the already made glove. So what I did here is I casted on all the stitches that I will need for my cuff. I did need around 7 rounds, I believe. Then I went ahead and purled 1 row and then knit 7 more, and then just sewn the cast on edge in my next round. I have sewn them together, have knitted them together, and then just continued changing needles, and then just continued working plain stockinette. And I think it looks really nice and neat. As you can see from the inside, it is really neat as well. So I believe I like this technique even more. The only thing is, when knitting like in double stockinette, double knitting, I find my cuff to be a bit more elastic than this one, and I'm not against it being really nice and tight because I don't like it flaring. So if you can see this one, it kind of, you know, flares just a little bit. Maybe that's because, you know, I pull on it when I put these on, but I'm gonna experiment. I have a way in my head that should reduce this hole right at the thumb, so I'm gonna experiment with it and let you know how it goes. I'm actually really excited to wash it, even if it's, you know, not the most perfect glove. I really want to see how the yarn changes when using this small of the needle. And I never paid that like much attention to how these holes form in my gloves. So I have another pair right here, and this one I was working on this when I was on the plane moving like across the world. So I have these on me, and these are made out of Drops alpaca yarn, and I believe I used 2.25 millimeter needles for these as well. They feature this beautiful pattern on the outside part of the glove, and same thing as with my new ones, I don't get any holes at the fingers right here, but I do get some at the thumb. And because this yarn is really fluffy, it actually kind of fills these holes just a little bit, but still, as you can see, I got this pulling of the fabric right at the thumb. So I think this is like just one minor thing that I would like to fix, and these gloves will be good to go. And I'm actually really excited to create a small masterclass about how I do create my gloves, and I really want to make it size inclusive and yarn inclusive. So basically what you need is some type of sock yarn or anything like that, and you'll be good to go. So really excited to perfect my glove knitting technique. And talking about gloves, many gloves in this video. So what I've been experimenting with, I have been experimenting with this yarn from Millefilly, and it's Millefilly Clue. It is 750 meters and 100 grams, so I knew I'll probably need to hold it double, and this is what I did to knit this beautiful gauge swatch. And so this yarn held double on 2.5 millimeter needles, and I just did like a small stockinette swatch. And in the cone itself, this yarn actually feels nice, but when I started knitting with this, it felt really rustic, and I was not actually very sure about that. Like when I was knitting, the stitches were off. I did not like how it looked, and I hope that when I block it, the fabric will change and will yield a better result. And this is actually what happened. So this is as well only hand washed, and I did not have an opportunity to throw it in the washing machine to check if I would felt it or get a beautiful gray fabric out of it. But as you can see, so the fluff has filled all of the spaces that I initially had, and you cannot actually, so you can see the stitches, but the definition is like really reduced. So it's like when you're working with boucle yarn, when you know it kind of fills everything and you cannot even count your stitches. This is not as dramatic, but still the fabric is really uniform, and if I try and look through the fabric, I can see that all of the holes, so all of the gaps between my stitches are really even, so it has really evened out, and it is filled with all of this beautiful wool and cashmere fluff. So this is definitely more woolly to the touch than the carriage yarn, and because this is still a thicker fabric, I think I will get beautiful winter gloves out of this yarn. So this is something that I want to experiment as well. And for this yarn, I'm thinking I want to see gloves with beautiful pattern. And I'm not sure about the pattern yet, but I think something leafy, something really natural will look absolutely great in this fabric, and I'm really excited to see how the patterns look in this yarn. If I didn't say, this is 90% virgin wool and 10% cashmere, same as Gariachi yarn, but absolutely different feel. Like, I never thought like how you do the yarn matters. I only thought it's only about the contents. So same composition and absolutely different feel to them. The next thing that I have in my plans is a classic jumper from this Gariachi yarn. This is the same yarn as I have used for my cable jumper, so I already know how this yarn looks, how it feels, how it looks in the final fabric, and I'm really excited to work plain stockinette after I have been working on like a very cable-y project. Before, I was thinking maybe I will try and experiment using maybe 5 strands of this yarn and using maybe 3mm needles, but then I said, you know what, I really like the fabric with 6 strands, and this allows me to work with 3.5mm needles. That makes the project go just a little bit faster, so I said, why not do that again? So I will be knitting a very plain twisted rib jumper in this beautiful taupe color. I'm really excited to see how the just plain stockinette looks in a just normal minimal jumper. So this is what I'm going to be working on, and I thought this will be a saddle shoulder, so same as with my cable jumper, this will be a raglan construction, and I'm gonna repeat the neckline and the raglan shaping that I did for the cable jumper, and I think I will be filming small tutorials on how I do that and how I get beautiful round necklines for my raglans. So this is something that I want to start working on probably today or tomorrow. So really excited to start working on this project here. And another thing that I have been thinking about, so I have with me this 100% merino yarn from Telenio 1900 called Harmony, and this is, though it is 100% merino wool, this actually has a cashmere feel to it. So I'm really excited to work on this project, and because it is this beautiful camel color, I think this is really a autumnal shade, so I think this will be like a perfect autumn project. And what I thought for it, I will show you a few pictures that I found on the internet, but I really like this idea of having a plain stockinette body for the jumper and then having nice cable-y patterny sleeves. So I think this is what I'm gonna do, and I have a few ideas for the actual pattern that I want to use for my sleeves, and this will probably be a raglan construction as well, because this is how I like incorporating the pattern in the sleeves best. I have already went and found a few patterns that I kind of liked for this jumper, and all of these really remind me of autumn. So one is this beautiful like berries kind of pattern, and the other one is, it actually reminds me of maybe like the woven basket that you would use maybe to store your apples or to pick something from the trees in your garden in the autumn. So I think this two will go beautifully together, and I already have a small sketch of what I have in my head for this jumper. So this is a plan. I'm really excited for it, but now I really want to enjoy plain stockinette, and then this will be a perfect autumnal, autumn inspired, minimal but still really beautiful cable jumpers. So I'm gonna swatch. I have no idea how this yarn looks in the actual fabric, so I will need to gauge swatch. I will need to swatch all of the patterns that I have in mind for this project, and I'm just gonna share the updates when I have them. But really excited for this jumper, and I hope I still get to work on it in autumn, like before the Christmas era begins. So I think this is how I'm gonna wrap up my autumn and start planning for wintry Christmassy projects, which I'm very excited about. So these are my updates. A beautiful cabley jumper that I absolutely love, a glove that I will be experimenting with refining, and future plans for 2 beautiful jumpers and a pair of gloves. So stay tuned for this, and I'm gonna see you in the next video.